Highlands Light FM. It's Huey Lewis and the news there. Morning Dave is here. And, speaking of news, it's 8:42.
Advisory services offered through Second Half Financial Partners, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions voiced and information provided in this material are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments are appropriate for you, please consult with a financial advisor. Second Half Financial Partners, LLC does not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax or legal advisor regarding your particular situation.
And because the news does tend to affect your money, it's time to check in and find out what's happening to your money today on Wall Street. With the help of Philip Statler from Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring. Philip, good morning. How do today?
Hey, good morning, Dave. It is, we're halfway through this week. I wish we had better news yesterday. Not a pretty day, and I'm afraid that after, Trump saying ceasefire is over because of what happened yesterday with Iran shooting missiles into ships in the Straits, that's going to cause another kind of negative day today.
Oh, yeah. The news ended up starting to hit in the morning yesterday. We started out fairly good humor, but we ended up in a decidedly negative day. 131 points down on the Dow, 34 points down on the Standard & Poor's. NASDAQ was big. 302.5 points means 1.16% down, and the Russell lost 0.9% as well. It was just basically a crapola day after about 10 a.m. yesterday morning. Things just started going south, and after President Trump overnight actually used the phrase, the ceasefire is over. We'll put up with a lot, but when they start firing at tankers trying to get through the Strait of Hormuz, well, President Trump is now saying that we're going to go at it full bore again, and that's got everybody upset on Wall Street, doesn't it?
It does. It's got oil stocks actually trading up today. As the reverse of that's going to be travel stocks are down today. Carnival, the cruise lines, the airlines, they're all taking a hit this morning. As well as yesterday, Dave, NASDAQ 100, I know it's probably not hitting on your sheet, but it's a new one that's kind of getting hit on my sheet every morning now. It was down $525 yesterday. That was over 1.75% down yesterday.
Good heavens. I didn't see the bottom end of the chart. Just everything fell like a rock after about 10 a.m. It was one of those days. Defense stocks, on the other hand, are up. Does that surprise anybody?
No, it does not, given that quote unquote the ceasefire is over. So that's going to be more for them to we're going to have to buy more stuff.
Absolutely. The big driver yesterday early on was the memory chip stocks after Samsung reported, and the indications were that it's going to be a little harder making serious money off of memory chips because they're going to end up being harder to buy. The memory stocks are officially now in bear market territory. So much for the high-tech boom for at least one part of the sector, right?
Well, yeah, and I think that was indicated kind of in that NASDAQ 100 number, right? Because a lot of those companies are in that NASDAQ 100 number that came out yesterday. Hey, you and I talked yesterday a little bit about SpaceX and it being in the NASDAQ 100 now as part of that index. Interestingly, they fell 6.5% yesterday and closed below their IPO first trading price of $150. Now, I will say they are rebounding this morning, up almost 1.3%. So back at like 151.39 right now. But that was kind of interesting yesterday.
Absolutely. So you're finally up to where you might have been lucky enough to get SpaceX for as soon as you bought it right after the IPO started. But it closed at $149.47 yesterday. And like you said, 6.8% off in one day. And that was obviously one of the contributors to the NASDAQ number that went down so precipitously yesterday. The other thing that's going to happen today, outside of watching the war, which is going to be the big newsmaker in the process, is we're going to hear the Fed minutes from Kevin Warsh's first meeting as Federal Reserve Chair. He'd said at the outset he wanted spirited discussion and wanted dissents, and that's going to kind of make those minutes coming out at 2 this afternoon might very well make it a download or bestseller, don't you think?
Well, it'll be interesting to see how that first meeting went and how much pushback he got and what the conversation looked like.
Yeah, it could be interesting. And we should make a correction because neither one of us were 100% sure yesterday. There is going to be a Federal Reserve Open Market Committee meeting this month. They skip August, not July. And we've got one scheduled for the last few days of this month on the 28th and 29th. And I'm thinking if I were Kevin Warsh, he's got to be saying, oh, goody, I've got war to contend with as well as what I want to do with interest rates. And this is not going to be a fun start for the new Federal Reserve Chair, is it?
No, it's not. He's got a lot on his plate and a lot happening in the world as well. Hey, Blue Origin, Mr.
Yeah.
Bezos's rocket ship company, they had their first public fundraising round. That's where they go to different, capital companies that buy initial offerings like this, and they valued Blue Origin at $130 billion in that first round of funding.
That's about 1/10 of what they valued SpaceX at, I think, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I don't know how many rounds of SpaceX went before they actually went public, right? It had several public fundraising rounds before it actually went public.
Understood. That's it. One more private space country. I don't know if I was Bezos, I'd probably not be thinking seriously about an IPO right now. Would you?
Oh, no, not yet. No. I'm sure he'll have a couple more rounds of funding first and build the value up before he would even think about IPO.
Understood. Talking about other tidbits I got out there this morning, De Beers, the big diamond people, made an announcement yesterday. They're making deep diamond price cuts. Now, they don't say why, but I suspect it's a combination of both the economy as it is in terms of buying the really heavy end of luxury stuff, but also I've got to believe that lab-grown diamonds have got to be really cutting into the business of a company that has specialized in basically cornering the world diamond market for decades now.
I bet it would because you go to the store now and you look at both and you can't tell much difference between, if any. I mean, to the untrained eye, you can't tell the difference at all. It's got to be hurting their business.
Yeah, even some fairly prestigious jewelers I know of have started selling lab cut diamonds as an option simply on the grounds that, a pro jeweler can tell the difference, but, she won't be able to if you buy her a Rockford engagement ring.
That's right.
Guys, save some money. Your diamonds are on sale.
Hey,
all of this adds a whole. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say Bitcoin. We haven't talked about Bitcoin in a while, but here this hit my sheet this morning. When Trump became president the second time, he really committed to and ordered his administration to build a federal Bitcoin reserve. Mm-hmm. Well, we're 16 months down the road and it still hasn't happened. We're seeing, there's kind of this between the Treasury and the Commerce Department. They're trying to figure out who's going to control. Each of them want to have control over this reserve, and so nothing's happened. It'll be interesting when they finally get that worked out. How that I got to think that's going to boost the price of Bitcoin again, just because they're going to start buying it and putting it in reserve.
Yeah, I was going to say probably I'm just as happy they didn't do it 3-4 months ago because now Bitcoin's down around 62,000. I wouldn't mind buying a little right now because it's got to go up from there someday.
Exactly. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that whole saga.
Yeah, I was waiting for a headline saying our government was the one that bought the Bitcoin at 120,000. That's what happened. All of this talk about Bitcoin going down by the better part of 50%, war in the Middle East, weird things going on with even luxury goods like diamonds. There's a ton of risk that's out there. We wanted to talk a little bit about some financial advice for people in general. Let's talk risk. How do I manage my portfolio to be able to control risk, Philip?
Absolutely, Dave. Here's what we want to do on Wednesdays. We want to talk about risk, and we're going to call it Risk-Wise Wednesday. And so I want to spend just a second here and walk through a scenario, right? How much risk do we really need? And so a lot of times people ask the question backwards. They ask, how much can I make? Instead of asking, how much do I need to make? Two different outcomes when you look at it that way. Let's kind of go through a case study that I put together. David's 62. He retired. He's sitting on $800,000, spending about $40,000 a year. Do the math. That's about 5% withdrawal rate. But David's a little anxious. He keeps watching CNBC, sits in front of the TV, watches Fox Business, all that type of stuff, sees people talking about doubling their money. And so, where's his portfolio? He's got it all in growth stocks. And so days like today and this week, we got a lot of ups and downs, and that's affecting his sleep. And so when you run the numbers with a modest 4% return, and having a well-diversified portfolio between, dividend-paying stocks, growth stocks, bonds, his $40,000 a year can last indefinitely on that 800,000, even if the market tanks. He doesn't need that volatility. So it's about having the right amount of risk in your portfolio. It's not shooting for a trophy, right? It's having enough risk in there to hit your number, but not enough to hit somebody else's number that they think they really need. So look, if folks need or don't understand what the risk is in their portfolio, I'd love to have an opportunity to sit down with them and really talk about how they can make changes to their portfolio to sleep better at night, Dave.
Okay. And you I know can help. We'll give them the phone number in a second. First, let's reset the table here. Yesterday, it was an off day after what looked like it might be a strong start. Everything was off. 45 minutes before we opened this morning, what are we looking at?
It's going to be off, Dave. We've got the Dow down $454. That's a little over 0.8%. S&P 500 is down a little over 0.5%. The NASDAQ 100 down 0.7, and the Russell 2000 down a little over 0.5%. The other side of the coin's not much better, Dave. We got silver down almost 3.5%, below 60 again at $59.23. Gold's down 1.5%, $4,094, and crude oil's going the opposite direction, up 4% right now to $73.20 a barrel.
Nothing's looking good. No better on the other side of the ponds at the moment. The Asian Rim had a really, really bad close. One of the mainland Chinese indexes was down by almost 1.9%. Japanese markets down by 2%. Gosh, can't imagine why. Price of oil's going up. Ditto over in Europe. The average European index is down by well over a full percent halfway through their trading day as well, because what happens to our New York crude happens in spades to Brent crude, and that's the price they work off of. So nobody's happy anywhere in the world, which kind of accents that risk element you were talking about. Philip, how do I find you in order to get the risk out of my portfolio?
They can give us a call at 863-382-0037. Or they can catch us at statlerfinancial.com is another place they can go check us out. And then check out the 6 a.m. and noon, Sunday 10 a.m. on Highlands News Talk 7:30 a.m. and 95.3 FM.
There, got it down. And at newstalk730am.com. You have a great day, my friend. I'll see you tomorrow, all right?
All right, buddy. Take care.
Thank you, my friend. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Philip Statler.
Hey, folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. I hope your day goes well halfway through the week. Join us again tomorrow. Bye now.